What about Broxi though? It's Broxi I'm worried about. He's my number one concern with all this shambles because he's got to cover the extra yardage. I know we've seen him at Hampden and running the races and all that at half time, but that's just a wee sprint, like half the length of the pitch. And I know he beats Hoopy the Huddle Hound and all that kind of thing, but he's only having to do half the stadium in the games, because the other mob have got the other half of the stadium. I know he does the whole circumference at Ibrox, but the end stands are tight on the pitch at Ibrox, they're square on the pitch. So he's not having to go away past the goals and deep it. Hampden's elliptical, that's the problem, that's why the bad sightlines behind the goals. And he has to do the front rows because that's where the Wains are. So he has to do the front row at the Rangers end and the front row at the Celtic end at Hampden, where the front rows are miles away. For the goal, he's going to be well. It's the wife, innit? She disappeared. Remember, she disappeared. We all know, nobody said anything, but she left him for a couple of seasons at least. Remember that? I mean, God knows what that did to Pierre Boris. The two, just totally. That boy must have been absolutely ruined by that. And then she turns up once we're back in the top flight again. The money's coming back in. We're back in Europe and all that. Suddenly she's turning up, new handbag, big red handbag, and the high heels and that one. I mean, hopefully he's got an extra couple of pound in his pocket for covering the extra yards. But I just worry if he's knackered. If he's knackered, be doing the extra distance and at night time he can. She'll be. How you doing, folks? This is your Fatek Motherwell at Hampden preview pod. No, it's not a cup semi-final. No, I'm not talking about 1952 when he played Dundee in front of the biggest ever crowd at a game in Scotland. Didn't feature Rangers, Celtic or Scotland. I am talking about a league game, a home league game for Rangers. This is your Fatek Motherwell at Hampden against Rangers. Rangers are the home team in the league preview pod, coming to you in association with the Gersnet microphone. Gersnet, check it out on this platform, YouTube tonight live. 9 p.m, you'll get a proper preview pod for this game at Motherwell at Hampden. I'm going to keep saying Ibrox, but it is Hampden. And 9:30 on Sunday, 9:30 p.m. Sunday night. Check out the flagship show on Gersnet. You'll get that game properly reviewed. Coming to you in association, I am with Gersnet and with the What It Is Like pod. It's the What It Is Actually pod. You've got WhatsApp, you've got Shazam and that kind of thing, where you can music. You put the app that you put your phone to the telly or whatever's playing this music that you don't, and it tells you what the tune is. You get the things with the plants. You can put your phone up with like a QR code, a plant that you don't recognise, and it'll tell you what type of plant it is, all that kind of thing. Well, this is one for. What it is one for goal celebrations. All guys like me don't realise what's going on. No, what it is, Dad, is there's this guy in the Olympics, right? And he's doing the shooting. There's a guy shooting folk at the Olympics. What is it that Black September thing? Is it Israel 72? No, Dad, it's shooting sport. They're shooting at the Olympics. And there's a boy for Israel. It's Turkey. He stands there with a gun and he points and he's got his hand. It's all over the internet. It's all on your computer here, is it? On your computer. I thought Dessers was just like doing it in my back pocket. I had them in my back pocket. I'm thinking, you didn't really have them in your back pocket, Cyril, did you? But you just touched that one in the back of the net. And then I saw the shooting thing. I thought, right, just like bang, there you go. I'm a top marksman. But it's the young boys had to explain to me that it was a spoof on the Turkish guy at the shooting. He was doing the weird style with the pistol. It's like when Roof scored that goal against Standard Liège for his own half, really, and he goes up and he celebrates and he's doing the A and all that. I thought it was because he'd played for Anderlecht, and I thought he'd be understanding. There was a few Standard Liège fans, and it was COVID season, but they were slagging him probably during the game, booing him for being Anderlecht. I thought he was going Anderlecht, haha, get it Rooney's kind of thing, but it was actually one of his wins. So it's one of the I'm that generation that I can remember everything about 1984, 85 or 85, 86 season much clearer than I can remember what happened the other night. I'm just getting to that age. Much clearer than I can remember what happened in Lublin against Dynamo Kiev. I understand it in the days, Cammy Fraser celebration. Vicky's up to me. I was in the Govan that day when he's Guinness the Vicky's after scoring against St Mirren that game. Super Ali, kissing his boot. I kissed it on the boot to the Eastern close of that 4-each game with Celtic. Kenny Black, remember, get beat 2-1 off Celtic. Charlie Nicholas scored that 82-83 season of the New Year game. 82-83. And he just jumps off onto the track up the brim, like, yeah, get it, Rooney's not the hand up. I understood all these celebrations. I got the cultural references there, but no, I'm like Antoine Griezmann doing the loser celebration. No, that what it is. It's Fortnite. It's a game, and they have these wee celebrations. I have to get it explained to me. So I think there's a wee app. I'm going to do for new one. It's a new app. You can put it up onto the screen, and it'll explain the celebration. My name's Alec Anderson. I can't sleep at night when you are on my mind. Bobby Womack's on the radio saying to me, if you think you're lonely now, wait a minute, this is too deep, too deep. I have to change the station, so I turn the dial trying to catch a break, and then I hear Hugh Keevans. Hugh, are you a psychiatrist? No, why do you ask? Because you're telling us that we are paranoid as a support. You can't diagnose that. So I'm here to talk to you about this this quite momentous day. I think it's quite momentous. It's going to be. I know it's weird. I know it's strange. I know it's no right. But we're going to play at Hampden. This isn't home, Vivian. This is a hotel. You know, it doesn't say Vivian, but this isn't home. This is a hotel. Jason Alexander to Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman. It's a pretty horrible scene. He's about to try and actually, force her. It doesn't happen. Obviously, Richard Gere comes in and saves the day because ultimately it's a kind of fairy tale fantasy film. But that's a thing. I think it's a trope of Hollywood. The kind of fairy tale fantasy films where everyone's supposed to be. You're supposed to be left with a lovely warm feeling. They write something into the script. It's a wonderful life. He's trying to kill himself. It's a wonderful life. Oh, it's a great film. It's a really heartwarming Christmas film. But it starts off. He's trying to top himself. He's trying to take his own life and leave his family behind because he just hates life so much. But I think they write in something really particularly dark, really, really bad during these films, so that you really need the feel good feeling. You really want it extra. It kind of grounds it in a certain amount of reality, almost like too much reality. And that's a bit in Pretty Women where it's like it's not actually your home, it's just a hotel you're staying in, just neat reality. And I think it's a bit like the situation that we Rangers just now. My fantasy is that we're going to get into the Champions League group, this new format, the Swiss system, horrible as it is. It would mean 4 home games. It would mean massive success. It would mean massive money. It would mean we're no falling £40 million behind Celtic again. We're going to be able to get on in a fantasy that would actually have the players available to us that could go on and maybe even challenge to win the title this time. It seems particularly needed now. It seems like a fairy tale, the idea that we can do that when we have this really dark, horrible factor that we're not even able to play at our home stadium in our home matches up until September or the end of September. I think maybe it's going to be later than that as well, going by what the chairman was telling us last week. So yeah, it seems really silly. It's almost like the away kits thing though. We've worn, what was it, the white kit at Tynecastle? Was that our second kit? I take it, the white shirt, the blue shorts, the white socks. And then we had our third kit. I take it that was, I'm not really up with the kits again. It's the old man behind the times. Against Kiev the other night in Lublin, and it's like the board are trying to affect some sort of Stroop effect that will just like the home kit won't get worn until we play our first home game of the season, and that's going to be at Hampden. We haven't even had friendlies at Ibrox. We haven't even friendly. We're friendly at Murrayfield, so I think technically we were the home team because Manchester United aren't Scottish. Although you wouldn't know that about half the folk that go to support them, but I think we've gone from the home of Scottish rugby as a home stadium now to the home of the National Stadium of Scottish football as a home stadium. It's really weird in the idea that I'm thinking that this is, we don't even have, we've got 2 wins in our last dozen games, if you want to include pre-season friendlies. Even if you just want to include competitive fixtures, we go, we get beat at Parkhead by Celtic in the league, then we beat Dundee 5-2, then we drew 3 each with Hearts at Tynecastle, then we lost the Scottish Cup final, then we drew 0-0 with Hearts at Tynecastle, and we drew 1 each with Dynamo Kiev. So we've only got 1 win in our last 6 competitive fixtures in all competitions. It's a bit of a fantasy that we're going to go on and do anything particularly significant, but that's going to, one way we can do that, and particularly significant this whole season, but we'll find out our ability to do that, ability to overcome the Hampden problem. Maybe we can turn it into a benefit, I don't know. But we'll find that out. That's the main thing for me on Saturday. It's actually almost more important than what kind of state Motherwell are in as a team and what kind of state our players are in. If we can go away and get a draw against Dynamo Kiev, albeit Dynamo Kiev were playing out of Poland, another weirdo team who can't find a home stadium, I think it's, I think we should be able to beat Motherwell. So we don't have to worry too much About that. It's a should. We should be able to beat them. The problem, I think, is the Hampden factor. You know, and like my best kind of four TV film jokes are my kind of four favourite on screen jokes probably that I can think of is there's a bit in American Dad. You know, Steve and his pals are going through the woods. It's the one where they discovered a script to the Fast and Furious franchise, and it's featuring heavy duty man on man gay sex, which is quite it's very funny. Um, but when they find it's because the script writer's dead in a crashed plane, which they find in the forest. It's like a jumbo jet has crashed in the forest, you know, and the wee fat pal Barry, he just shouts, "Oh, we're going to keep it wet until the tide comes in," you know, and it's I find that really funny. And then there's the Simpsons. I don't watch the Simpsons as often as I should. I don't really know it off by heart like some folk. But there's one I always remember that it's Bart and Homer are in one of the kind of day trip marine expedition boats where you can sit in the boat. It's got a glass bottom and there's sharks underneath and they're taunting the shark and Homer's going, "Ah, you're not so smart now, so-called king of the jungle." It's really funny. And then there's Brooklyn Nine-Nine where it's Charles Boyle and somebody mentions that they're going to watch The Godfather and he's like, Diane Keaton's The Godfather. And probably my favourite joke of all time, which is saying something I don't actually know how it goes and I have never seen it. I must have seen it. I must have seen a clip at some point. I don't even know the name of the Marx Brothers film, but it's Groucho Marx, and he does. I think my uncle or somebody must have done it once, and I thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my life. Um, somebody's in a bad way has collapsed ever, and he does the old thing of checking his pulse, where gets the wristwatch out, and he says, "Either my watch has stopped or this man's dead, or either this man's dead or my watch has stopped." I don't know what it is, but it's the football is one of the places that a lot of men my age and my physical condition die. You know, we have a heart attack and we go. If it's golf, it's mowing the lawn, it's in your sleep, it's having sex, or it's at the football, getting yourself a bit worked up. So I don't do any of the first four. I don't even have a lawn. I don't even have a lawn in my house. It's just kind of pebble stuff. Go to the front. But yeah, so if you see me at the football for a Rangers game, you happen to see me and you see me having that fatal heart attack because that's what Rangers will do to us this season. I think just go over. I've told everybody in my family that if I collapse and die in front of you, just somebody grab my hand, grab my wrist, hold it, and just go, either my watch has stopped or this man's dead. Because that's the way I want to go out. And those jokes, I find them, I've delivered them terribly and killed every single one of them, but I find them particularly funny. What is funny about those jokes is because they don't make any sense, but they kind of do. And this whole situation with Rangers is exactly the same. I'm finding it kind of funny, and I shouldn't. I know we're supposed to be really angry at the board, and it definitely is a major rick. And it could cost us big time if the players don't settle in and blah, blah, blah. If the teams playing against us enjoy it more than we do. It could be really bad. But I can't help thinking this is just, what are we like? What are we like? This is just us, isn't it? I think chaos is kind of missed sometimes as the major kind of secret ingredient it is in the history of Rangers FC. There's this thing where we're the Presbyterian, dour, boring, kind of really organised establishment team, in Celtic are the, whoa, we're the Bohemians, we're the cheeky chappies, we're just fighting against the man. And we know, particularly the last few years, it's very much not the case. They're organised corporate monsters who are quite happy not to buy as many players as they should. And what I mean, we're the ones that are overspending like crazy. But never mind the David Murray years and then the Craig White stuff that actually killed off the holding company and had us demoted to the third division and stuff like that. It's absolutely, Celtic are super organised. They just keep chickening out of Europe so they can concentrate on winning that league. Just win the extra couple of games because that extra bit of energy lets them keep winning that league while we try on all fronts and end up winning bugger all. And they keep getting that Champions League money in, which means they can keep topping up the team just enough to stay above us and have the local bragging rights. So we've got the wild ambition. We're more outward looking. This dour Presbyterian thing. We like the plains of Europe. We want to go out there and explore. We want to go to Paris and Rome and go all these lovely kind of groovy places. Whereas Celtic are just quite, as long as we can win with a goal in the 9th minute extra time up at Dingwall, then we'll be quite happy. Not that Dingwall's not exotic in its own way. Absolutely beautiful venue, Victoria Park, beautiful part of the world. But I think we won the Cup Winners' Cup. fucking riot after the game. Only when we just invaded the park the same as the Celtic fans had done in Lisbon, 5 years earlier when they won their only European trophy. We win our only European trophy on the park invade. It's fascist police in Portugal, same as it is in in the new camp at that point in time. Franco, we fight fascists, by the way, stupid arseholes with a little flag with a fucking shoot staffel insignia on it. It's embarrassing the hell out of us right now, especially the state of the country right now, all the crap going on for Farage and all the kind of arseholes. We fought. We don't talk about that stuff. We fought the Garda Civil just because we just weren't having it, just a natural thing. And we beat that's after we'd beaten the communist oppressors on the team of the KGB on the park, and then the fascist dictatorship off the park. I mean, anyway, there's this idea that Celtic are they're the glory rebels. We're the ones that are fighting everybody that's trying to oppress anybody all over. But we're the ones that celebrate beating the Nazis with the pitch. Just remember that stuff when you're doing Anyway, let's not get into that. But this idea that Rangers are super organised was a riot after we won. I think we invaded the pitch twice before the final whistle went. We nearly lost the Cup Winners' Cup final because all the players wanted to keep their specially made jerseys, nobody embossed. We're going to swap the jerseys with the Dynamo players at the end. We're 2-0 up at half time, thinking it's a cruise. So they swap the jerseys for warmer jerseys. You look at pictures for the 1972 European Cup Winners' Cup final. Pretty easy way to tell if it's the first half or the second half. If it's got 1972 Cup Winners' Cup final round the RFC skull crest, it's the first half. If it doesn't, it's the second half. And that material is the material we're wearing, away to Dundee United. And we're wearing it in the 24th of May, deep into May, heading toward the summer in Catalonia, and the players started to sweat like and end up losing the 2 goals and nearly chucking it when we hadn't had a lot of match practice either. There was a month spare for the end of the season to be kicked off in that final, but that was definitely part of it. We then we get banned for 2 years. Willie Waddle is one of the loudest critics of the fans invading the park. It was a bit unfair the way the Polish reacted to them and all the Garda Civil reacted to them, but Willie Waddle, God forgive me for getting his name wrong because he's arguably the all-time greatest Rangers figure. He's loudest in his criticism of our own fans. So we get a 2-year ban. We can't even defend the thing, and then Willie Waddle campaigns and lobbies and gets it commuted to a year. And we don't get to defend the thing, so we don't even. The one time we win a European trophy, I mean, the way we celebrated it, the whole thing with the getting around the park and the coal lorry. You saw the wee film that came out recently. Absolutely brilliant. That's iconic. That's part of what it is to be a Rangers supporter. Just that we love all that stuff. The idea that dour, staunch, Presbyterian, everything's super organised. And I think it's got particularly bad the last couple of years, obviously, the fallout from 2012 and how long it's going to take us to get over that. But I just feel as if chaos is a kind of secret ingredient. Our success. Remember Helicopter Sunday? We didn't do that kind of stuff when there was a wee period when, especially through 9 in a row, we just kind of battered it out, and Rangers didn't do late comebacks and things like that. We always had stuff organised. Did late comebacks in games, but in terms of league title races and stuff like that, no. If we chucked it, we chucked it. If we were going to win it, we were winning it for the front and that kind of thing. But Helicopter Sunday was a wee clue about how things were going to go. I think it's going to be very, very up and very, very down for most of the rest of the 21st century, probably. But it seems to me that Rangers being at Hampden, no having this, and it's for the very best of reasons. The very best of reasons. The wheelchair supporters, we need to get them up off the flipping trackside and get them a decent view and get them shelter. And of course, Rangers try to do good. Kind of do good for getting things wrong. And we're at Hampden, and I don't know, just it feels right. There's something. I think it's because we go to Hampden so often. I'm going to mention this about 25 times in this pod. The WhatsApp, not WhatsApp. Sorry, the was it Footballogy app. See, I'm an old man. I get my apps mixed up. The Footballogy app tells me, as I've mentioned to you a few times before, that I've been to Hampden 148 times, and I've checked it out. That's accurate. I've checked it out. I've got the paper evidence and what have you to back that up. It definitely is spot on 148, and I thought it was going to be maybe the Scotland games in the autumn in the Nations League before I got to 150. It's quite a good total. It's quite chuffed with that. I've been to the National Stadium 150 times watching Rangers, mostly Rangers or Scotland, but a few other games along the way, kind of amateur cup final, stuff like that, Olympics, and I thought 150, it's going to be Tuesday. As long as I don't have that heart attack before tomorrow or during the game on Saturday, and I get to the game on Tuesday night as well. It's going to be Tuesday night. I'll go my 150th game at Hampden, so I know the place. Let me kind of like the staunchest estate agent, kind of double agent, because I'm also trying to get some rent because we've got extra rent for the boards. Are going to have to pay the SFA some money. I'm not so much going to show you around your new accommodation. It's because it's somewhere we've been before. Hampden is somewhere we've been a lot, but I'm going to kind of reacquaint you with it in a team happy clap sort of way. Reacquaint you with Hampden and let you know that it's not really that strange. It is. It is kind of home for us. I mean, look at before I even get into it, look at Motherwell. Motherwell social media come up today, Hampden. Something, and it was nice to look at that as opposed to Nigel Farage patter and all that kind of toxic garbage on Twitter. So I hit it at Hampden, and one was at Motherwell account going, "Oh, we love it. We can't help." And it's Rangers at Hampden, so they're showing. Motherwell fans showing each other highlights of that horrible game for us. Pedro Caixinha's Rangers getting battered off the park by Stephen Robinson's Motherwell in 2017-2018 League Cup semi-final. I remember queuing outside Ibrox for that game. I know that was another one of the moments. It was beautiful chaos. Had to go to Ibrox to queue to get a ticket for Hampden. No continual credit card scheme or something apparently was working. And just everybody standing in the queue just talking about it. We're kind of back in the top flight really. We're back at Hampden again. Hoping everything was going to be okay after that game against Hibs, I think the previous time we've been at Hampden. And, oh no, Warburton, did he play against Celtic the following season? Aye, we played against in the semi-final. But aye, it was great. We had like 40,000 there that day. 40,000 on a Sunday. Hampden, massive support. We're just willing the team on by sheer force of numbers, and Motherwell battled us off the park. Louis Moulton, all that scored great goals. So they're really looking forward to it. Motherwell have beat both Dundee and Dundee United in the Scottish Cup final. So Hampden's absolutely, was it 1952? I think they had that record, kind of strange record crowd, 130 odd thousand against Dundee, biggest crowd outside an Old Firm game or a Scotland game at Hampden, not featuring either the Old Firm or Scotland. Biggest crowd in Scotland ever. And then, of course, an absolute classic, epic Scottish Cup final. I watched that live in the telly myself. They beat Dundee United 4-3 after extra time, the 1991 Scottish Cup. They won I meant to look it up. They won the League Cup there as well in the 50s. Motherwell won the League Cup. In fact, Motherwell won one of the clubs that have won all the trophies. I've got a bit of extra respect for somebody who's just won all the major domestic trophies at least once, because it's a big thing outside the Old Firm. That is a major achievement, and they are one of those clubs. But I don't know, was it Partick Thistle that maybe beating the League Cup final? I'm sure it was the 50s. Anyway, it's a big thing for Motherwell, but it's a big thing for us. It's a big Hampden. It's a big thing to get to Hampden in terms of cup finals and domestic things, but it's also kind of second nature because we get there so often. So, for example, first day is get the underground you can get off at Bridge Street. If you don't know this, you can get off at Bridge Street, come at Bridge Street, steer at Ibrox, and go to your left when you come out the actual exit. It's just in that kind of, it's a wee pillbox and a big empty car park, isn't it? And you just turn around and it's kind of diagonally, it's kind of behind the area. You're heading towards a kind of area, almost waste ground, behind the Carling Academy or whatever it is, that venue. But it's like you just take a diagonal through that into all that new kind of development, all the new houses that have been built in the Gorbals, and just go diagonally right through that and then keep bearing left. You get onto, was it the Tapa Cathcart Road? You're heading basically for that Celtic boozer. Is it the Brazen Head? You can't miss it, that horrible Celtic boozer. It's a Celtic boozer, so I'm being horrible there. Under the bridge, it's under the bridge, big green and white place, you can't miss it. And you just basically, if you walk past the front door of that, just carry straight on down, you will eventually get... you'll see the crowds and you'll see where Hampden is. You'll get there that way as if you don't actually already know that. Or you can get the train for Central. Trains go for Central to Mount Flora. Don't get off at Queen's Park. Another couple of stations to go. Don't get off at Queen's Park. That's confusing. It's Mount Florida station. And follow the crowd, They'll take you to Hampden. I think I've only been to Hampden, I say, the 148 times, so I'm not really sure what line it is. Is it Cathcart Circle? I mean, half the times I've taken a car or I've been a supporters bus, so I've only been 70 odd times in that line. Why would I take a note of the actual route, the actual train line? There's another line, and anyway, it's hard to get a train to Mount Flora. There'll be plenty of folk at the station, or you can just walk straight for the city centre. Come out Marks and Spencer's, on your Girl Street, and you kind of bear left onto like Stockwell Street or is it Bear right onto Stockwell Street? Stockwell Street, right? And just head straight down past like the Scotia Bar, Clutha is on your left hand side, Scotia on the right hand side, just go right or straight over the bridge with the court on the right hand side, just fucking straight down, and you'll hit Cathcart Road and all that, and that'll be you. You'll be absolutely fine. I'm going to have to go to Kings Park, I think. I should go to Kings Park station, which is the east side of the stadium. I don't think I've ever been there. That'd be quite an experience to go there, because I'm over that end. I'm situated over that side of the stadium. That's where I've got my ticket for. Where have you got your ticket for? Where did you get mapped over to? And I look at the state and I just think to myself, well, I've been going there that long that the section that is now section A, that's the Rangers End. That's the Rangers End. You've been in there for plenty of games. For that, I was in there at the Scottish Cup final. So the last time I saw Rangers playing, just the way it's worked out, was in the Scottish Cup final at Hampden. And the next time I'm going to see Rangers playing is also at Hampden. Last time of last season, first time this season. I was in there for the Scottish Cup final, which we lost 1-0 to Celtic. I was right down the front on the tifo and all that. I was getting quite scared at half time when the Union Bears were standing in front of me with the masks on, and big, what are they going to do? And they set off these beautiful flares. That was brilliant. It was quite intimidating at the time. That used to be called Section H. I was in there at Section H when Scotland beat Spain 3-1 in 1984. Mo Johnson got 2 goals, and he was Celtic player at the time. Me and my uncle were stood there on a terrace, and then the only folk not singing Mo, Super Mo. Quite bitter at times. That soon changed. Then Section B, you've got, that's the other side. You swoop round the Rangers End towards the north enclosure. That's still, you're technically behind the goals. That used to be Section J, back in the old layout, the old Hampden, before they seated it and before they built the new main stand. I was in there when it was Section J. I think it was maybe only the second or third time I've ever been to Hampden for the semi-final of the Scottish Cup against Forfar, 1982. Forfar, and Forfar fans of the entire Celtic end, the old terrace Celtic end. There's about 1,000 of them, and you're just packed in right dead in the middle of it. And I remember thinking, why are they not spreading it? I was only a kid at the time. And I also remember the whole Rangers in singing, "If you hate Argentina, clap your hands," because they just invaded the Falklands a few days before that. And they just played at Hampden 3 years before that with Maradona scoring his first goal for Argentina against, my dad was at that game, didn't take me, I'm really bitter about that. So you move into Section L, the north enclosure. It used to be Section L, it's now Section C. I was in it at Section L for my first ever game at Hampden, Scotland-Portugal friendly, October 1980. And when my dad lifted me up over a puddle, me saying, "Dad, but it's not been raining. What's the..." Just keep walking, son. That's how wee I was then. My dad could actually lift me. Scotland Portugal 0-0 European Championship qualifier. I was devastated. I never saw a goal, but quite stunned by the size of the place. Beautifully lit up at night. My papa died a few hours after the final whistle. And I was in Section C. When it's Section C, it was all seated, for example, random example, I was in there when we won that League Cup final against Celtic. The one where the sexiest Jelavic finish of all time. Vladimir Weiss putting the ball through, then Jelavic in extra time winner hit off the inside of one post and came out and then curled back in and slipped over the line. What was that, 2011? 2010-11 season. And I was in the seat right next to the fence, the split, with the Celtic support who had the other half of the North Stand. And get it round, that was really immature stuff. That other half of the North Enclosure was Section M. And now, when was I must have been in there. I don't really remember being in there. I was in there. I was in there when Scotland beat Wales 1-0. Ian Rush scored the only goal of the game, 1985, or World Cup qualifier for 86. Mark Hughes hods it off. Alec McLeish tried to get the ball off him. Miller McLeish against Hughes and Rush. Hughes and Rush won. Great finish, 1-0. That was a horrible night, that, when it was old M, the terrace. And as Section D, when it was seated in there for the 2008 Scottish Cup final against Queen of the South, and when they brought it back to 2-H, I just remember the roar, the woman screaming. You can still hear it in the telly when you hear the replays and that. Or the people that their first football match just gave it an extra intent, thinking, this team, they've got all the way to a European final in Manchester, which I'd been at and all that, took the league down to the last day of the season, won the League Cup, and knew they're going to end up losing the Scottish Cup final to a lower league team. How embarrassing would that be? But we came through and we won in the end. I met Big James and his wife. Big James has done pods for Jersnet. Met him there that day. After that game, Section F, right, this is just the Celtic end, first bit of the Celtic end, Section F it is now. It used to be Section N, and N, I stood it in his terrace, and when it was Section N, when we won the second of those 3 straight League Cup finals against Aberdeen. Now they would win the third one, 3-2. you know, and Ian Ferguson, volley, Super Ali scored. I think he scored a couple that day. We won that one 3-2. That's that 88-89 season. I was up there with my pal Alan, his brother David, and my sister were up in the section there because Aberdeen support was so small that we had to have. Oh, there was the family section. It was like a kind of family section. We were in there, so that was great. When it was section N, section F, when it was seated. I'm trying to think again, I was in there. Oh, when was I in? Oh, watching Rangers, Scotland definitely, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. Oh, Albania. The first time I saw Albania in the Nations League, we beat them, and was it Stevie Naismith? Did he score one or two of the goals that night? Definitely scored one anyway. It was quite a good wee victory. First time I'd ever seen Albania. I think the other half, which is now section G of that stand, that east stand, the Celtic end, was empty that night, but I was in it as seated for Sweden against Ukraine, when Ukraine won with a 120th minute goal in the last 16 of the Euros, Euro 2020, played in 2021, that last 16 match at Hampden. When it was section O, Terracing, I don't know if I was ever in there, because mostly for domestic games, so half of them, that'd be for Celtic or whoever you were playing, no matter how small the support, would have that bit. I don't know if I was ever in there when it was terracing, when it was section O, so I'm not as that familiar with that. But you work your way around to, now it used to be the schoolboys enclosure in front of the old main stand, which was sections G, E, C and A as you moved along for the Rangers end. I was only ever in that once, and it was the second time I'd ever been at Hampden, and that guy behind me, David Cooper, who is in playing at Hampden in that picture there, and he was wearing that strip, scored the equaliser against Dundee United in the League Cup final, 1980-81 League Cup final. I remember looking up, I was dreading it. We were getting beat 1-0. Ralph Milne scored for them early in the second half, and I'd be like, what, 11, 12 years old, and standing in the schoolboys enclosure with my uncle, and having my feet raised, having my heels up against the back. I thought it was lucky somehow. The back of the sleeper and the terrace, and my toes were taking all the pressure, even of my young non-weight at that time. And I was for some reason I thought that was lucky. And then David Cooper equalised with a free kick. I was so happy. I was like crying. And I just remember the cloud of dust, because it was the old ash sleepers, and it formed a big massive dust cloud that actually blocked out the light for the old drenched floodlights. That temporarily the place went kind of dark, mystical. And then Ian Redford, no longer with us, same as Davy Cooper, same as Ralph Milne, he scored the winner, and with like 5 minutes to go, lobbing that thing in the end, and it was right above me. You're in the schoolboys enclosure up at the Rangers end, and it was right above me in there. But it was the old main stand. You had like section B, the main stand, which was the bit over towards the Celtic end. It was in there when Richard Gough scored the only goal against England. We beat England 1-0 in the Rouse Cup, was that 1985? And then with my dad and his mate Michael. D, the centre of that stand, I was in there for the League Cup final, the 87-88 one, the epic 3-each game where Super Cooper scored that flipping best free kick I've ever seen in my life. And that day, my mate and I had got on the train. My mate Alan's for Cowannon, so I went to Cowannon to get him. We jumped on the train to Cowannon. It was a Stranraer train to Glasgow, and it was two boys from Northern Ireland, and they'd never been to Hampden before. This was their first cup final, older than us, these guys. And they were like, what tickets you got? And we were like, we were on the Rangers end. And they're like, we want to go in, we've got these centre stand tickets, would you swap us? Aye, they bother, because they wanted to go and just get into it. We were old, we'd experienced that so many times, being in the old Rangers end, fawning about in the terrace in there, but they wanted to go there, so they swapped us tickets. It was dead sitting, it's the best view. See that thing of like the best view you can get is in the telly? It isn't. It's in the middle of the old main stand at Hampden for the 1987-88 League Cup final, and it was like one of the greatest domestic games I've ever seen in my life. One of the best Rangers games of my entire life. Just had it all in front of us. Like, it was unbelievable. It was, what a view. Made Hampden a totally different place. Section F of that old main stand, over in the corner. I never really get far over into the proper Rangers end of that, Rangers side of that main stand, but I get into it once, just on the halfway line, in 1995-96 Scottish Cup semi-final against Celtic. Loud up Alan McCoy's first half, loud up the lob. In the second half we go 2-0 up. Simon Donnelly pulled one back for Celtic, I think, late on, and my sister had got tickets through her work. They were complimentary tickets, and she didn't really know where they were, because she didn't really understand the layout. Since we were slap bang in the middle of the Celtic, and they had to wear suits and all that, but they're right in amongst all it. I'm wearing like an orange shirt and a blue tie under. So it was like, we've got to get out of here, and we got a steward who swapped us, and we swapped with two Celtic fans who were stuck in amongst all the Rangers support in our side of the main stand. So we got in, it was just over the halfway line, just into the Rangers end, of that main stand. So that was a great day, because when we bit the second goal in, there was a lot of Celtic fans right next to us, and I'm jumping up giving it. We picked them out of the trophies. We picked them out of the League Cup at Parkhead that season as well. And we'd already pretty much won the league. I think we beat them every league game. We didn't lose them, I don't think, in the league that season. We've beaten them in all the competitions. We've picked them out of all the competitions, knowing full well that Celtic colleagues would hear me. So that was it. That was a great day. So yeah, I mean, you had the old North Stand, which used to be above what is now the North Enclosure. I would never got in that. Never got. I was only at a few games. I was only just old enough to have been at a few games as a kid when it was still there, but I never got inside that. That's a pity. The main stand, as it is now, the new South Stand. Right. Okay. I'll quickly run through it. Section H. This is up the top tier. Right. H. I was in there for Scotland, beating the Netherlands 1-0. That James McFadden goal, the first leg of the playoff, Betty Vokes. It went very badly in the second leg, but that was a good day. That Section K. The only time I've been in between K, L, M, and N, which is the other 4 sections, right in the middle of that top tier, the South Stand, was when Scotland beat Spain 2-0 in the qualifiers for this Euros. That was a great night, a fantastic view as well. And Section Q, over there a few times. I was over there, for example, the League Cup final that we lost to Celtic under Michael Beale last season, and for the League Cup semi-final that we beat Hearts 3-1 last season under Philip Clement. I was in there for that. At the front of that main stand, oh God, I, J, O and P. P is the section nearest the Rangers end. I was in there for Scotland, beating Slovakia. 1-0 for Scotland, beating, what do you call them? It's no Romania, the ones next to, the country just next to Romania. Chisinau is the capital. Oh my God, that's terrible. But I beat them 1-0, and it was, oh God, what's that country? That's terrible. I can't remember the name of the country. I'm losing it here. And Section O, no, I've not been in the other bits in the main stand, but I'm trying to tell you, as a Rangers supporter, I'm a Rangers supporter, you're a Rangers supporter, I'm really, really familiar with Hampden. I hope I've communicated to you that Hampden is just it's a kind of experience that makes you forget the name of certain Eastern Bloc countries. Sheriff Tiraspol, they come from this country. Moldova, Jesus Christ, they're trying to break away from Transnistria. I know about Transnistria and how it wants to break away from the country, but I couldn't get the name of the actual country. Moldova beat them 1-0, and I was 2 Celtic, but to make it more familiar, there was 2 guys behind us, a son and the grandfather with the father, all wearing like green, the Celtic tartan, and it was Nathan Patterson had done really well, and Billy Gilmer did really well that night as well. So they were getting, I think Nathan Patterson he's kind of set up the goal, didn't he? That only goal that night. So they're getting big rounds of applause. These boys just sat there, like total prim and proper. But yes, I mean, I remember Graham Souness playing here, and he was an absolute animal. Some of his tackles he should have been arrested for. He was an absolute disgrace, and it was just like anti-Scotland Rangers players patter, because it's like raging that these 2 Rangers associated players had got a absolute. That's not a nice memory, but there you go. It's got stuff you've got to put up with. So I feel as if, right, we look at Motherwell, okay, they're really excited because we played them there, and they beat us in that League Cup semi-final. I remember us beating them in the Scottish Cup semi-final, was at 4-3. It was like a lunchtime kick-off, Saturday, the 2003 Scottish Cup semi-final, that must have been. James McFadden scoring a cracker that end as well, and it's hard to end. But end to end, we beat them 4-3. That was a good game. League Cup final 2005, beat them 5-1 at Hampden, Motherwell, Terry Butcher's Motherwell. That was a nice wee day out. And my auntie, I wasn't there, I can't remember. That was just before my Rangers memories start. I think it's the 75-76 season. We're 2-0 down to Motherwell at Hampden. Were we wearing our away kit? We did. Why would we against Motherwell? Aye, that doesn't make sense. That was against Forfar, another one at that time. Aye, so Motherwell were 2-0 up. I think maybe at half time or early in the second half, and we scored 3 goals. But my auntie, she was young at the time, she was a teenager at the time. She was there, and she was in the schoolboys enclosure. I remember that. To see that game, I burnt a guy. And my uncle, who was there at the time, they weren't just boyfriend, girlfriend at the time, he's like, aye, she'd burnt this guy's ear. She was smoking. No, smoking was much more popular in those days. And when Rangers scored the 3rd goal or whatever it was, to actually turn it around for 2-0 up to 2-0 down to be winning 3-2, she was, yes! And just held her hands out wide like that. And it was kind of busy. There was a fella next to her that he couldn't get away in the crush. And she's basically spit the stubbing her fag out on the guy's ear. He's in agony. But he's got a permanent souvenir, a great night against Motherwell. I hope it's going to be the same tomorrow. Listen, folks, I'm doing this on Thursday night. if you haven't worked that out already, I've got a wee holiday thing going on on Friday, so I've not seen the manager's press conference. I don't really know what, or we could have signed 2, 3 players by the time between me posting this and you watching it, and certainly, between me posting this and Rangers kicking off at 3 p.m. on Saturday. But I don't think our manager likes to rush new players into the team. So I don't know the availability. I don't know what injuries. We'll definitely have picked up an injury from a good result the other night, but it was a nascent, fledgling, kind of embryonic feel-good factor about the place now, even though we don't really know where that place is. I think it's Hampden. Because of that result, because that injury time, last kick of the ball equaliser, giving us a good result that proves nothing, in terms of us progressing in Europe or whatever. It just means we've set it up for a great night on Tuesday. Dynamo Kiev are perfectly capable of hitting us in the break. It looks like they're a good team. So this tie's totally in the balance, but it was just nice we didn't lose the game. We drew it, and to score the late goal is always good, and it was a beautiful goal as well. We definitely saw a slight improvement on the Hearts game, and just you can see there's a whole lot of new players, a whole lot of. We don't have enough new players. That's the problem. But it's a new season, and the manager's new systems, and obviously he's been putting stuff into them during the pre-season, and they're trying to get used to that. Tav still trying to get fit. You can see him getting slowly fitter and making much more of a contribution, particularly at the end, right in the death the other night. And starting that move for the goal. So we are in a position where, as I always say in these situations, and it never works, I want us to take the buzz that we felt at the end of that game on Tuesday night and just take it straight to Hampden and get us bedded in, make us feel right at home in this game. Motherwell, let's talk about them. As I say, they finished 9th last season. They were as far away from getting relegated as they were from getting into the top 6, kind of safe. Stuart Kettlewell, though, just shoved it up us properly. Really tight. Our 2 victories over them, really tight. That nervous one, kind of Christmas time. I think we ended up beating them 2-0 anyway before we went to Parkhead. Between Christmas and New Year, we beat them in that game 2-0. Was it Christmas Eve? I think it was Christmas Eve. Kieran Dowell scored, and he kind of came into things the other night. He's one of the could be one of the players, Kieran Dowell, that you're thinking, oh, he's away. He's been written off by us, injured so often, and kind of overshadowed, if you like, in terms of a player who doesn't play a lot, but a lot was expected of him by the likes of Todd Cantwell or Kamar Roof or something like that. But could be one of the guys that just suddenly comes in, and we're hoping he blossoms into a decent player. Or maybe we're just trying to get rid of him and haven't managed to find a buyer for him yet. But he scored in that game. We won 2-0, and we had the game, I think it was just after we'd lost to Celtic at Ibrox, that terrible game for Michael Beale. It was the following weekend. We beat Motherwell 1-0. It wasn't very convincing at all. And Stuart Kettle did a lot of talking. He is a big talker after the game about how his team could have taken it to him. We were just thinking it's just because Beale's crap, and how his team are really unlucky and they played the better football. I'm like, right, mate, it's just because Beale were crap. Nope. When he come back to Ibrox against a Rangers team that were top of the league, under Philip Clement, they beat us 2-1, and quite handily as well. I mean, they get halfway in terms of the guy that should have been red carded for putting young McCausland into the enclosure, but he pops up and scores the winner. It's just a red card all day. I don't understand why that was never given, even with VAR. It makes it even worse. But fair play to them, they played really well that day, Motherwell. We weren't on it at all. Big Theo Bear, who gave us all sorts of nightmares in that game. Thank goodness the Canadian international, he's away. He's gone to Auxerre in the summer. And Liam Kelly, the goalie, who did quite well that day as well. Our ex-goalie, Liam Kelly, was that day. His contract expired right at the end of the season, so he's no longer at Motherwell. I don't know where he is at all. But maybe we'll see him in Saturday if Jack Butland isn't in any. If he's traumatised by his last visit to Hampden, who knows? But I feel as if Motherwell, they started off the season with a 0-0. They exactly the same as us, except they drew 0-0 with Ross County at home at Fir Park. So it's a worse result in terms of the opposition in the venue, I suppose. But basically, they began the league campaign with a neither up nor down 0-0, and so did we. They had the League Cup though, because they're not in Europe. They had the League Cup, and they topped the League Cup group. Oh, who was in it? There was Clyde. I think they beat Clyde. Montrose. I think they had an embarrassing kind of draw with Montrose. I think that League Cup thing, they knew the Scottish League Cup sections, it's penalties. It just go straight to penalties to decide points or whatever. There was somebody else decent. Partick Thistle, I think they drew 0-0 with Partick Thistle. I think Thistle beat them with penalties, but I don't know how many games they played. Like this. Thank goodness Rangers have only been involved in that League Cup group stage the once. But aye, they finished top of the group and they'll have Kilmarnock next week in the next round of the League Cup. So they're doing okay. Motherwell, it's hard to tell after such a short spell of the season. But aye, the secret ingredient for Rangers is chaos. So in that way, we are at home. This is where we're used to being, and I think the thing to remember for me is Hampden is it's not a home from what no, a house is not a home ever, but it's not a home, but it's a second home. It's like I think it's like I've said this before. It's like a favourite auntie or your granny, the granny that you liked. It's you might not have a bedroom there. You might not have all your stuff there, but there's a lot of happy memories and a lot of warm family feeling for us at Hampden. We certainly know the way there. We were playing there 4 times last season. We're getting to the stage now, Rangers, as we're making our way back from 2012. That would be a couple of seasons we didn't get to Hampden at all. Then we're getting to maybe the League Cup final, but not the Scottish Cup semis. And last season it was both cup finals. So you're there for the 2 semis and the final. So the one good thing is Cherny, who didn't look, match winning or match saving cross he put in with his old left foot there. The new signing on loan from Wolfsburg, but he didn't look too good. He looked a bit, off the pace when he came on that game the other night. Which he didn't. He was doing okay against Hearts at Tynecastle, but he looked well off it when he came on for that game the other night until his moment of magic. So I don't know how sure he is to start. But like him and Proper, I hope we get to see Robin Proper, this fella from 20 that we've signed at centre half. I would like to think we're going to get to see him tomorrow, but they've never played at Hampden anyway. Maybe they've played for the country. Maybe Cherny's played there for Czech Republic or whatever. But they're no been at Ibrox yet as their home stadium, so it's no big miss for them. But like I said, even Diomande, a couple of times in the Scottish Cup, and Conor Barron's been there with Aberdeen, whatever. Most of the team is used to playing at Hampden, and those who aren't, well, they're not used to playing at Ibrox either, so it's no skin off their nose. So there's no excuses, but I think we should go there and really enjoy this, and I hope we get off to a winning start at our home from home. Talk to you soon, folks.